For someone who was given access to the internet at the age of 3, your understanding of privacy is effed. And I'm here to do something about it. Welcome to Unduck Your Privacy, where I teach you the fundamentals of how to be private online and how to protect yourself. Today, I will specifically be talking about Facebook as a medium. And the reason why I am bifurcating social medias here is because their target audience is very different from each other. Facebook is not something that the Gen Z audience or the later millennial audience is still using. The main audience that is using Facebook right now are our parents. And that comes with its own risk because you will not realize how much information about you is out there on the internet because our parents are proud of us most of the time and they overshare a lot of information about us. I will start with this particular piece by talking about why privacy on Facebook is specifically important, and then I'll teach you how to actually be private. So, firstly, if you are a person who is using Facebook and you have a public account, even if you have a private account, we very rarely audit who looks at our posts. We have friends from 20 years ago, I don't, but you probably do, who were once our friends and now maybe we are not on good terms with them. We have random strangers we met and we added on Facebook, and there's a accumulation of people there that we never gave a second glance to. So when we are sharing things, we think that it's going to the audience that exists in our head, but it's actually going out to everyone. Now, one thing that people don't realize is a private account is very rarely private. And this applies specifically to older people who didn't experience stalking the way we did. So even if your account is private, it can still be screenshotted. And if your information has to go from place A to place B, and if someone's really determined to do it, it can still happen. Now, what is the problem with that, right? We don't understand how much information about us is often systemically used for our benefit or for our disadvantage. For example, let's just say I am a person who really likes to party, right? And that's something that's there on my social media, right? And I give an application for a company, for a job. Now, mind you, my want to party or have fun doesn't affect my work ethic. I actually work really hard. In the past, a lot of companies have profiled individuals on the basis of what they saw on their social media. And while you would think that, oh, that's a really smart way of finding out about a person, it isn't. People have different mindsets, different ways to go about things. And often enough, that the one thing that you would take negatively from their social media presence can be the reason they would be useful at the job in some other way. For example, in the same example where I am, let's just say, rejected for being a social butterfly, I might actually have very good networking skills. I might actually have skills that bring in more clients. And that's something that's completely being neglected, right? Another example of this would be, let's just say you're a guy and you have a kid and you are a very present parent and you've got all of these pictures from PTMs and all of these events that you have attended with your child. And you being hyper present in your child's life, becoming the reason you are not selected, because these people somehow gauge that because you are hyper involved or just involved in your family life, you're not going to put it over your work. Now, this only happens in work cultures that are very toxic, but it still exists. And you as a person don't deserve to get shut off from opportunities just because your social media presence looks a certain way. You are allowed to say no to them, sure, but you shouldn't be rejected, especially for things that you did not intend for their eyes in the first place. Now, I know that this can backfire. I know that there are people who do horrible shit online, and and when you look at it, you're like, what if their workplace finds out about this? You're more than welcome to take that information and put it out there. But that's for a person who's just going out and being an asshole to other people. I have diverted from my point. The whole idea is that there are a lot of systems that are trying to understand your behavior and track it. And you need to move ahead of them. You need to ensure that those systems have minimal access to you. And with Meta, that's very difficult to do. With Facebook specifically, that's very difficult to do, especially because their target audience really likes to interact with other people and doesn't realize where to draw the line. So now is the chance to find your mom or dad who are probably scrolling on Facebook right now like this. Take their phone, log into their Facebook on your laptop, because obviously you remember the password. You are in charge of keeping track of the password, and do these things to ensure that they are protecting themselves and not accidentally doxing you online. So the first thing you'll want to do is run a friends audit. You go on Facebook, maybe sit with your parent and ask them how many of these people do they know and think well of. It's also a good thing to ask very outwardly if they are on good terms with all of those people they've added on Facebook. If you are not on good terms with someone, or you just plain don't know them, get rid of them. And if there are any accounts that they have felt hostility towards, they usually don't know how to block those accounts. You will want to do that. The second thing you'll do is run a photos check. Go to their photos and see if they've clicked a picture and posted anything that could give out unnecessary information about you, your family, them. I know an instance where a friend of my mother's was clicking pictures in front of a lot of stuff she had packed. And in my culture, what ends up happening is if you're moving from one place to another, which is very common, you tend to have big, heavy iron boxes where you write your name and you write down the place you're shifting from to the place you're shifting from. So she clicked a picture of herself and those boxes were in the background. The entire name of the person, their phone number, and the place they were shifting to got exposed on the internet. And nobody knew about it. Nobody knew that this entire information was out there on the internet. And then eventually they got rid of that picture. But usually you'll want to get rid of things sooner than that. That picture had been there on the internet for many years. So run a photos check. The third thing you'll want to do is run an activity check. Instruct your parents that, hey, it's a good idea to not give out personal anecdotes on the internet, because that's what often scammers are looking for. There are posts where do you remember that one time your kid made you proud? And then your proud parent is like, yes, I remember. In third grade, when my child won the 200-yard dash, they made me so proud because they thanked me in front of people. There are a lot of people who will read that story and go, oh, but often enough, that's just a trap to get older people to give out information about themselves so that later on, if someone calls them and they ask, hey, how do I know you? They can give out one of these anecdotes and, establish familiarity when there is none. So you really need to run a comments check, a likes check. Usually a like does not give out a lot of information, but sometimes it might. Some things are very pointed. An example of this would be, my dear Gen Z and millennial friends, suppose you are on Instagram and something scandalous that you actually like but you don't want the world knowing shows up and you like it. My friend, now the rest of the world knows you like that. So you want to run that check as well. And I know it's a long process. You don't have to do it in one day, but maybe divide these specific checks into different days and help them out like this. It's a good way to go about it. Now I'll teach you how to do all of these things. Please don't mind the noise in the background. There's some construction going on there. So firstly, this is the friends column which you're supposed to audit. I am not going to show you who my friends are because there aren't that many. I clearly know all of them. I hope so. Anyway, the second thing is the activity audit. So for that, you'll have to go here. Here is everything that you've ever done. Run an audit on all of these things. Especially this. And get rid of whatever you don't like. The second thing you'll want to do is go to the privacy checkup. tinker with these two things a little bit. Keep your parents aware of these things. And one final thing that you want to do here is go to the privacy center. Now, Meta has a lot of social media under it. So, by any chance, if your parents have Instagram and Facebook, these common privacy settings should help you with regard to all accounts. Yeah. And in general, it's great to be educated about privacy. So, you can read more privacy resources. And if you're like me and you're an enthusiast, just go ahead and read the policy. The final thing to talk about is AI, specifically Meta AI. Unfortunately, you can't disable it. There was a time you could disable it, and that was also a very kooky process because the only way you could disable it was if you stated the GDPR. So the way to disable it was to go to the privacy settings, go to Meta AI, and click on Object and give your reasons for objecting to the use of AI on your account. And GDPR was one way to get that done, but that only worked if you were within the territorial jurisdiction of GDPR. So that doesn't work anymore. That's sad. It's a part of the reason I don't use social media all that much anymore. But yeah, you can't really get rid of AI if that's a question anyone had. Now that you've learned everything you needed to, and you've probably protected your parents and yourself online, go ahead and make a code word with them. This code word will be responsible to ensure that if someone calls them pretending to be you, they don't take any impulsive decisions. And this code word needs to be discreet. It can't be any information that is available online. And like I've said before, there is a lot of information available about you online. So it needs to be something intimate, something framed with human connection. Go bond with your parents, man. And now that you've learned it, please take that phone, give it back to your parent, and they'll put their tiny specs on it and ask you, बेटा तुमने क्या किया इसमें? अच्छा, so it is fixed now. Can I use it?